Guys, I got one for you today. I'm going to use this little tiny bullet to hunt a wild hog in the swamps of Florida. That's right, I'm gonna use a 22 mag to hunt a wild hog. Now, this is an American Ruger 22 mag rifle, no scope, just open sights on it. We're gonna use these little tiny bullets. That means shot placement is key. So first, what we're gonna do is sit down, shoot the gun a little bit. We're gonna try a couple different ammos, and I'm gonna go over all that with you before we go hunt the pig. So like I said, what we have here is an American Ruger chambered in 22 mag. That's 22 WMR. I think that's Winchester Magnum rimfire, but more commonly people say 22 mag. This gun does have open sights. The way this rear sight is, it does have a little bit of adjustment. I can adjust left, right, up, down. You can mount a scope on this gun if you want to. Has a 9-round magazine and it's bolt action. Pretty cool little gun, very light. Now, all that said, I picked up 2 separate ammos to try out. The first one I have is a 30 grain polymer tip from Hornaday. That's the 30 grain VMAX from Hornaday. The second one's a little bit more traditional. It's got like a soft point. They call it a game tip or a game point. This is the CCI 40 grain. You know, I kind of feel like this is new school, that's old school. I like a polymer tip. Made a little homemade target here and made me a couple spots to aim. We've got this set up here. I just stepped that off. It's about 30 steps. I don't have a rangefinder. My steps are pretty close to a yard, so we're figuring 30 yards here. Very nice. I didn't even have to tape it. All right, we're gonna start out with the CCI game point. So I'm not sure what order that went in, but I was aiming, had that peep buried, aiming at the bottom of here. So I've got one that's about an inch low, and then 2 pretty close up higher here. I'm imagining this is my second and third shot. Probably pulled it a little bit right here. But I mean, at 30 yards, open sights, I'm okay with that. Every single one of those would be a dead pig, especially if I'm aiming right at his ear. His ear is probably about that big, but I need to aim a little higher. This is the 30 grain Hornaday VMAX. I was aiming at the bottom of the square both times, so a little low and to the right. Not sure what was going on there. That's probably just me pulling the shot. And I'll be honest, even at 30 yards, that little the forward bead, and I'm burying it, I mean, it covers that whole square almost. Just went and put 2 more squares on the target. I'm gonna try each round again, 2 rounds each. So this is that CCI game point, the 2 rounds. I made some adjustments with my aim point. I started out aiming down here, aimed right there up here. I aimed for the center of the square, and that's what we come up with. You know, that's width of my thumb. This is the Hornaday. It felt a little bit more all over the place. You can see we got one over here and one up here. Just not grouping as well as that CCI. I'm not pretending to be Annie Oakley or anything here, but with the open sights, I don't think I would shoot much more than the 30 yards. I also think I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna hunt with those CCI game points. And just two quick points I want to make on this rifle. The trigger is way stiffer than what I personally like. I do believe it's adjustable from the factory. I'm gonna have to Google that. But for a gun that I paid less than $400 for, it's a pretty sweet little gun. I did go and put some corn out at my lease in Florida. Now it's just a matter of watching the game camera. Once the pigs start to show up consistently in daylight, we're gonna head on back out and see if we can kill one with the 22 mag. And right on time, the pig showed up. Headed in, it's 5 p.m. They were at the bait site from 1 o'clock until 2:20 today. So I'm pretty confident they'll come back. So I've been watching this sounder of pigs for about a year now, maybe a little less than that, but I want to say they're maybe 40 pounds, maybe 50 pounds. They look pretty fat. They've been living on some corn and whatever else they can find out here in the woods, and I really just think they are perfect right now as an eating pig. I'm gonna climb up a cabbage palm that is very, very close to the corn. I don't want to leave a whole lot of room for error, as it is the 22 mag. I'm pretty confident if I could put one right in its ear, it's gonna happen. Something I've wanted to test for a long time. Being that they were there between 1 and 2, I guarantee these pigs are laid up somewhere not far from that corn pile. All right, guys, I'm gonna slip in there with my climber, Ruger 22 mag, trying to get us a little free range pork. I'm gonna double check my cell cam real quick, make sure they're not there right now, and I don't bump them off. Nothing but squirrels right now. I'll try to slip in there quiet as possible. Get this stand up in a tree without making a whole bunch of noise. All right, guys, I'm gonna settle in and wait on the pigs to show up. It's 7:10 p.m. About 50 minutes of light left. If it gets too dark, I can't see with the GoPros. I hope they show up soon. Didn't have to do any tracking. Dropped her. She did get up and take a couple of steps, and I put a second one in her just to be sure. That's a nice pig right there. I did think I was going to shoot one of those smaller ones at first, but honestly, the little smaller pigs were a little bit smaller than I thought. Took this big sow. She looks nice and fat, so hopefully she'll have some good meat on her. It was in that second pine tree right there. Here's my corn pile. You can see my normal stand back there, but I want it to be a short shot. The initial shot placement was right in this area, right here. And she fell and dropped, and she got up, took 2 steps, and that's when I put the second round in her. I'm saying this sow's about 50 pounds. Hopefully have some real nice straps on her and some nice quarters. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. Maybe some sausage, maybe some barbecue, but yeah, man, super stoked on this. Ooh. Boy, I'd take her back to the house and get cleaned up. So this is one of the back straps off that hog. That was a fun hunt. I think that if you guys like this video, I may do some other similar videos. I have some cool guns that might be interesting to do hog hunts with, like a open sight 30-30 or even a 22 long rifle, just whatever I can think up. Now, these back straps I had in a cooler on ice, not in ice, on ice, for about a week. So they are rested well, and we are prepping them to vacuum seal today. The cook will actually take place in a couple of days because we're headed to South Carolina. You know, YouTube's not gonna let me show the whole cleaning process, but I do believe they'll let me show this stuff. Once you have the back straps out, come in and trim out all these little bits of connective tissue. Fillet knife is the best way to do that. You slide under, kind of angle the knife up, and you can get all those little bits out. And the reason you get those out is because they'll just be a little bit chewy if you don't. Then you have on this side a really thick piece of connective tissue. The way you do that is just the same way you would clean a fish. My vac seal bags are about that big, so I come down with the knife. I don't cut all the way through. When I feel the tissue, I rotate the knife out, and just like you were taking the skin off a fish fillet, just like that, come in and take it off. So maybe just a little piece right there. I'll trim that off. And honestly, that almost looks like store-bought pork once it's all trimmed out. This is the most tender part. I have those quarters down there. I think I'm going to make some breakfast sausage with the quarters and cook something for you guys with this back strap in a couple days. See you in the kitchen. In this kitchen.
I was like, you're already in the kitchen.
Just in a couple days. Guys, it has been a couple of days. I got this wild hog back strap out of the freezer, and I'm going to make chicken parmesan, but wild hog parmesan, if you will. So I'm gonna make some cutlets and then cook it down chicken parmesan style, or veal parmesan, or pork parmesan. So to start out, I've already did a couple here, but I have that back strap. I trimmed it out really well. I wish that YouTube would let me show you guys some processing, but they just won't, unfortunately. I've got a mallet, and I'm gonna use the side with the, what do you call those?
Bumps?
I'm gonna use the side with the tenderizer side.
Oh.
This side flattens it, this side tenderizes. I'm gonna go through, you know, my mom said I'd go blind if I did this, but I can still see. The reason reason I'm not doing this with plastic is because I'm using the tenderization side and it would just tear the plastic all up. Now, we have 3 really nice Wild Hog backstrap cutlets. Nice and thin, tenderized.
I think you just like hitting it.
I do. Now we have to bread these. So what we're gonna do here is I've got some flour, I've got some seasoned panko. This panko has Parmesan cheese in it and 1 beaten egg. I'm gonna season my flour with garlic powder, black pepper, just like that, and of course salt, because salt is what makes things taste good. So then we'll just mix that in. What we're gonna do is we'll take one of these cutlets and put it in the flour like this and shake off the excess. We'll go into our egg. I think this is 2 eggs beaten. Let that excess drip off and then go into our seasoned panko mixture. Well, I messed up. I had wet hand, dry hand, and I went wet hand, dry. But I'll flip that over. And maybe if I'd had a bigger thing than a paper plate. But you really kind of want to press that panko into the cutlet like that. And then just set this aside, shake off the excess, set that aside, and go ahead and get the grease heated up. I've got some oil heated up in a cast iron right here, and just slide that in on like a medium. I don't know if you guys can see this, but see how those edges are starting to get golden brown? That is a indicator that it's time to go ahead and flip. Look at that. That's gonna be beautiful, crunchy, and delicious.
Ow, it's popping me.
Well, it's hot oil.
I'm just trying to get a close-up for you. I'm just trying to be camera person of the year.
The things we do for YouTube. Only took a few minutes aside. Get those nice and golden. And they're gonna be super crunchy, which will be nice. We're ready to assemble. I'm gonna start out with some of this marinara. I like this Bertolli's, and I've just got a baking dish. So I'm gonna just cover the bottom of the baking dish like that. Kind of shake it around. And then we're gonna come in with our pieces of piggy. It's their new official name, the piggy.
Piggy parm.
Piggy parm. And it's real. I mean, the last time I cooked the wild hog backstrap like this, it was so good.
It was.
So we got them like that, and then we're just gonna put just a little bit more on top of each one, like so. Maybe a little in the edge there, just so we can get it all bubbly. Parmesan cheese. This is fresh grated. I grated it before the camera turned on. And we're gonna cover the tops of those like this. This is gonna be good. My mouth is literally watering. Then I've got some of this Tillamook. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this is mozzarella cheese. And we're gonna go ahead and just put a nice slice of mozzarella cheese or 2 on each one of these pieces. We're gonna go ahead and go in an oven. I've got it set at 350 until that's all melted, delicious, and bubbly. Maybe 10 minutes.
I like your new shirt.
I'm gonna put on my little Beetlejuice gloves. Here we go.
Ooh, that looks good.
Right?
It's all bubbly and I love cheese.
I mean, piggy Parmesan. You sure are a lucky woman.
I sure am.
I'm gonna let you plate it because in the last video, everyone said that your way you plated it was better.
That's true.
So.
Because it was. So if I were to be plating this for myself, which I am, the first thing I would do is put some noodles down like this.
And those noodles have Alfredo on them already.
Yeah. They could probably use a little more Alfredo for my liking, but that's just me. Okay, so I've got my noodles. Now, you're not gonna like this.
I'm gonna cut it in half.
But nope, I'm going to slice it.
Oh my gosh.
I knew you weren't gonna
I knew I shouldn't have let you do this.
I knew you weren't gonna like it. But this is just how I would do it.
I just wanted it pretty.
It is gonna be pretty. Just watch.
Mm-hmm. Bob, it is very hot. It'll burn your little mouth.
Yeah, Bub, it'll burn your little mouth. And then
Alright.
I'm gonna, hold on. Wait, I need to get all the cheese.
Good and cheesy.
And
like your
then-
jokes.
Give me my plate. It's too much pressure.
Now she knows what it's like to be armchair quarterbacked while you're doing something.
Whatever.
You do a little, you're not gonna put that on top?
No, because I'm gonna mix it with my Alfredo and make like a vodka sauce. Isn't that what they call it?
I don't think that's vodka sauce, but
You know what I'm talking about, though.
I know.
Where they mix
when
it.
you mix the creaminess of the Alfredo sauce with like the tanginess of the marinara,
Yeah.
it's amazing. All right, let's sit down and eat. He does not like his new diet.
Okay, yours looks prettier than mine because I added more Alfredo and I mixed it all together. And now it's just a big chicken Alfredo sloppy mess.
Mm-hmm. Well, just say I won. Just say I won.
This time.
Last time you won.
Oh.
But I made mine for how I wanted to eat it, not necessarily for how it was going to look.
Well, that's what I just did.
Yeah. So, I can tell you this stuff is as hot as the surface of the sun right now. So I'm a little scared. Mm.
It's very tender.
Mm-hmm. It's because I beat it. Boom, boom, boom.
It does
Boom,
have
boom,
a
boom.
different flavor, though, than like a chicken parm.
Yeah.
So. But
Well,
like,
I mean-
But it's not porky. Like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes people like think like pork chops, ham.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like,
Well,
it doesn't taste like that.
so the backstrap on a pig, on a wild hog, is the same as what like a loin chop would be in a butcher shop, a pork loin. They're just way smaller, you know, and sometimes a little tougher. Sometimes the thing about wild pigs is like you never really know what you're getting. I've had some that were like as fat as a domestic hog, maybe not quite, but like fat.
Yeah.
And then like this one was pretty lean, and then I've had some that were extremely lean.
But it's so tender, it's almost like a veal.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you know how to cook real good.
I'm so lucky.
It's been a while since I actually shot the hunt of this video. I've always wondered about the 22 mag as a viable cartridge for wild pigs, especially since so many of our WMAs don't allow center fire rifles during small game season, so you can use a rim fire, and so you could go out there with a 22 mag and hunt pigs. You know, which is really why I wanted to do this whole video. And it's just something I've always wondered. And it was effective. I do think that I would even reach out a little farther than I did. My shot was probably 25 yards.
Right, it was really hot.
And like I said, just with a wild hog, the only thing is you just want to make sure you cook it all the way through. Because just like any meat, if you eat it raw, you could get stuff.
What kind of stuff?
I don't know, but I think Mullet just farted.
Like, ew.
Gross. Trichinosis.
Oh, I was gonna say Signatera, but that's Barracudas.
No, that's the cooties. But it's actually really nice.
That trichinosis is bears.
Same. Usually, because wild hogs are omnivores, and so are bears, I think is why you can get trichinosis from them. A wild hog doesn't really discriminate. They'll eat a little bit of anything. So this is it, guys. If you got a 22 mag in the gun cabinet, go out, shoot a pig with it. And then make piggy parmesan. But we're gonna see you guys on the next one. I appreciate all of you.
Thanks for watching.